Hello, fabulous people. This is the Together podcast, and this is the place where Sharice and I come together to help you get it together for your everyday business life. So we hope you enjoy.
Today is Tuesday, and it's 9 a.m. It's 9:09. Ooh, 9:09. Somebody better box that and play it straight. So, and
okay.
Sharice B, and I am Natalie E. And this is the Together podcast where we come together to help you get it together. And so if you like our show, please remember to like, subscribe, and leave us a comment. Let us know what you're thinking. Or if you want us to talk about a subject, definitely leave that out there too so we can get to it. So, all right. So it looks like Sharice and I are both in transit today, but we still wanted to make sure that we showed up for you guys. And I had to show up today because I wasn't here last week, and I had to say what an excellent job you guys did. Thank you so much. I felt so good. It was so nice listening. Y'all said so many great things. So, all right. So, Sharice, let me let you get a word in edgewise. So, how you doing? What's going on, and everything?
Doing good. And like you said, in transit right now, I couldn't even find the internet. Like, what's going on? So, I'm glad I connected and we're here, but a really busy week, but a good week, no complaints. So I'm excited to be here with you today. We missed you last week, but Kimmy Marche, she stepped in and did her thing, and we enjoyed ourselves, and it was so good to have you in the audience too, commenting.
But I had the best time commenting, and we're gonna have to have her back because she just had so much to say, and I just enjoyed listening to her and her story. And I didn't hear all of it because I had to be popping in and out. But I did. So I need to go back and listen to the whole thing. So definitely. So today we are talking about scheduling. Like, oh my gosh. And the schedule. So scheduling for sanity, how to take control of your calendar and your life. And I can speak a lot to this because at one point, which is when I really had to start getting serious about my calendar, I had double booked it was in May of 2015, because I remember such a horrific week. I had double booked myself in every single type of way you could double book yourself because I was not keeping a calendar. I didn't have things written down. I was trying to keep everything in my brain. And sometimes, and I still do it sometimes today, like personal brain, oh yeah, I'm free, I can do that. Work brain, I've already scheduled something, and it's like the two brains don't think, which is why you have to have a calendar to write stuff down. So, and preferably, if you're using two calendars, like a personal calendar and a work calendar, hopefully they sync some type of way. So that's my number one thing for people is you must write it down. Number two, I would say, before you say yes to anything, which I'm still learning, check your calendar first. So your answer at some point in your life can no longer be yes. It has to be, let me check my calendar. Let me check my calendar. Like take yes out the vocabulary when people are asking you to do stuff, and replace it with let me check my calendar first. So those are my biggest two things, and I kind of jumped right in. So Sharice, what do you think? Let me ask you this. What do you see people struggle with the most with calendar?
First of all, this transition that we made from the, just the, what is it called? The
writing it down, old-fashioned paper calendar.
Yeah, writing it down. Yeah, the old-fashioned calendar. I was trying to think of a better word. But the old-fashioned calendar, writing things down, to saying, okay, we're in this digital world, and now we're putting everything in our phones. But I realized that I need both. Okay. And I realized there's three things that I need, right? And it just is what it is. I'm not embarrassed about it anymore. I used to think that, something was wrong with me, or, I just wasn't organized enough or business savvy enough, until I realized, like, no, first of all, it's everyone, but it doesn't matter. As long as you are in position to take care of your business, it does not matter what it takes. So for me, honestly, I've learned that I need my appointment calendar.
Okay.
Okay. For my clients, I do need the digital, my Google Calendar. Okay. And then I need my written calendar. I just implemented that written calendar in the last, which is my old school appointment book,
Gotcha.
salon appointment book calendar that
Right.
has appointments from 7 to 8 p.m., right? And
Yeah.
then, I start so early, I just fill in the rest. But that, and then my really good friend created a custom to do list for me.
Ooh.
When I say custom to do list, I mean, it is laid out. Sharice's personal goals, Sharice's business goals, Sharice's
Mm.
studio goals, events, all that. Natalie, when I tell you it was the best
Oh,
birthday
goodness.
gift ever. So it
Mm.
complements
Mm-hmm.
everything. It
Mm-hmm.
complements all the calendars. And it just is what it is. I felt crazy. Um, needing all of that, but I just do because I need the reminders to go
Yeah.
to the clients, right?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
need my own reminders. So my automated appointment calendar is
Yeah.
so important.
Yeah.
And then, okay, send it. If it's going there, send it to my Google Calendar,
Yeah.
which is a shared calendar with the team, right? And
Right.
then I got to write it down.
Mm-hmm.
I got to write
I
it
think that's the
down.
biggest thing. And
So,
I think
and
what you
it's working. It's working. Like 2025 has been better.
oh yay. Oh, okay. All right. So I want to highlight a couple of things that you said. I think anytime you can get anything customized,
Mm-hmm.
you're gonna feel better. Like it's like that's excellent. And so I want to encourage anybody to do that. To really sit down and customize what you need. I think B is that you have
Yeah.
figured out and accepted this is what I need to function. And I think that's so huge because
Mm-hmm.
I think sometimes
Yeah.
we don't want to need everything that we need, and we feel like they don't need it, so we shouldn't need it. We just don't accept, okay, this is how I work, and it takes all of these things to get me to work the way I need to work.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Mm-hmm.
do
Mm-hmm.
understand, especially when the things are a piece of software and each one is costing you monthly fees. I know you don't like that. With that
Yeah.
being said, I think you do have to make some allowances for it does take money to run my life at the level that I want to run my life. Like it's not all going to
Yeah.
be,
Yeah.
sticks together with free stuff I picked up from the Goodwill. I'm joking, but still, like there comes a point when you're gonna have to put quality and time and money into creating a system that works for you, however that system works for you. And I think
Yes.
really working on
Yes.
accepting this is who I am. And so let's say, let me mess
Mm-hmm.
with people who struggle with mental health. So I'm messing with you guys with love. But if you know you got ADHD and you can't stay focused on nothing in the world, then you know you need to spend the extra money and time to get the things in place that's going to keep you on track. If you know you struggle with depression and the depression has you moving slower, then you know you need to schedule extra time in the mornings for you to get moving. And so look at who you are
Mm-hmm.
and just accept it. Like accept it. I think that's the biggest thing with scheduling.
Yeah.
Oh, and this is the other thing I need y'all to accept. Accept that you can't do everything you think you're gonna do. Please accept that in your regular day to
Yeah.
day. Accept that when you are short on time,
Mm-hmm.
everything is gonna take longer than you think it's gonna take. Please accept that. Accept that
Yeah.
if you want to get 5 errands done, you can probably only get 3 done. And so that whole, and I
Yeah.
think people usually learn that. I feel like early 30s when you're like, oh, I'm gonna get this done, get this, get that, I'm still gonna get to the event on time, and then you wind up being 2 hours late for the event. And so at some point you start to realize, okay, it ain't nothing gonna go like I think it's gonna go because I'm in a rush. Everything is gonna take
Mm-hmm.
longer.
Mm-hmm.
So let me figure out what
Mm-hmm.
2 essential errands I gotta run and get those done and arrive at the event on time. And so that's another
Yeah.
acceptance of life, acceptance of who you are, acceptance that you can't get everything done. that whole I'm gonna get 5 things done before the event, except that you can't do that anymore, that it never worked for you and you always was late anyway. And so and doing that, I think another thing along with acceptance is accepting that pre-planning is a good idea. How about that? Can we accept
Oh gosh,
that doing
yes.
some
Yes,
pre-planning is a
yes.
good idea? And whatever pre-planning may
Yeah.
be for you. And so if you
Yeah.
are, I think I want to say so much about pre-planning because I think that's such a skill to have, is to be able to look at your calendar and say, what am I going to need? And go ahead and get that in place. As soon as you
Mm-hmm.
start needing something,
Mm-hmm.
figuring out how to get that in place because you know you're going to need it down the road. And being
Mm-hmm.
able to do that
Yeah.
in the down times. What's coming to mind is like a stylist who restocks, when it's slow. Okay, that's the time to restock, or a makeup
Yeah.
artist who restocks or something.
Yeah.
When the time is slow, so
Yeah.
everything is
Yeah.
there when it's busy. That little bit of pre-planning helps my
Yeah.
schedule go
Yeah.
smoother because everything is there like I
Mm-hmm.
need it. And so taking that
Mm-hmm.
extra
Mm-hmm.
time to
Yeah.
pre-plan. So all of these, I think, you learn over time, but I think sometimes we get a little rebellious and we don't want to do what we know we should do, or we think, oh, I should be
Yeah.
beyond that right now. There is no
Mm-hmm.
beyond the basics.
That
There's no
that right
beyond
there.
scheduling. So okay, I'll give it back to you. Go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, no, I think that is a huge component. I'm better. I'm bigger than that. I'm better than that. Like I've
Hmm.
been there, done that. No, like
Right.
you've gotten busier. You've acquired more skills. Just more appointments, more clients. Your life is busy,
Hmm.
so you have to give yourself grace.
Hmm.
I've always really admired
Yeah.
people who really stuck to their calendar, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's because that calendar, I have learned, is everything. Now, my life is different. I've lived by a calendar as well, in the salon, but
Hmm.
everyone came to me, right? My
Yeah.
appointments came to me, Natalie, just like you, right?
Hmm.
So that you're kind of spoiled in that, just like in marketing. Like if you built business back in the 90s and the 2000s, we
Right.
didn't have to do a lot of marketing because community, especially with
Yes.
my industry,
Right.
we made our money in the community, right? So they
Hmm.
just showed up
Hmm.
and then got
Hmm.
on standing appointments.
Yes.
So I was
Yes.
extremely spoiled in that space and lived that lifestyle. So as I went and made this transition, and
Yeah.
I'm kind of out in the world maneuvering different, and I'm not in my living life inside my ready-made calendar, I
Mm.
really had got off track. Not
That's
realizing, like, oh,
amazing.
you just let go of your whole scheduled lifestyle.
Oh wow.
So
Yeah.
now you gotta book it. You feel me? So people
Yeah.
making these transitions, it has really taught me, like, part of my program with helping the beauty pros transition, right?
Hmm.
And how do you want to transition? Like, are you going to gradually transition? Are you quitting cold turkey, leaving the chair cold turkey? Or are you gonna do dual services? Are you going to do other things and still do beauty, whatever
Right.
you do behind the chair?
Yeah.
So it helped me to build out an entire program of, okay, so you have to look at life different. If you want to come from behind that chair or the desk, whatever, you got to minimize. Okay, so are you going to do appointments on Tuesday through Saturday or Monday and Wednesday from
That
4
part.
a.m. to 10 a.m.? And then
Hmm.
what does the transition in that day look like? Because now your
Yes.
brain has to shift from servicing a person to
Hmm.
now, okay, it's time for me to go work on my business, right? Instead of
Mm.
in my business.
Oh, girl,
So now
preach
I gotta
that.
go build business, right?
Yes.
So,
Yes.
oh my gosh, I got so much information but I lived it. I had to live it first,
Yeah. Yeah.
in order to, share this information. But it was so big for me because I didn't understand. why I would leave the chair and I would be so exhausted. Then I couldn't shift into the other work I knew I had to do. Well,
Preach that.
I had
Preach
to,
it.
those are my rituals.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I had to literally go into meditation and sit down. It could be a workout, it could be a walk, but you got to make that shift into now I got to do my brain work, right?
Yeah.
I got
Yeah.
to sit down, I have to
Yeah.
think and I have to create
Yes.
instead of, servicing with my hands. So it's huge. But and I think a lot of people, they haven't recognized that, but that's that self-awareness that I had to come to.
Yeah. Let okay. All right. Let me try to put what I'm thinking and feeling into words because I just want to hug Sharice so, and give you a high five and be like preach because there is that somehow there's this judgment on yourself that I should be able to do my like servicing clients work and paperwork like right there together. But there is a
Yeah.
transition. And so it has taken me time to understand I just don't work like that. If I'm like
Yeah.
therapy mode, seeing clients mode, people mode, essentially, I can't go from
Yeah.
people
Yeah.
mode to paperwork mode. It's two different modes for me. So that means for
It's too
me,
different.
I have to schedule time on my calendar for paperwork time. Like it has to be scheduled or it's not going to
Yeah.
happen because I can't go from people
Yeah.
mode to
Yeah. Yeah.
paperwork
Yeah.
mode. Now, I can go from paperwork mode to people mode. And so I've also learned if I've got to get some paperwork done, then I need to come in and get it done first and then go into like peopling mode, servicing mode. And so I'm saying this thing and trying to break it down
Yeah.
for you guys because I just need you to accept. Because I think there was a judgment. Well, I'm lazy. I'm a procrastinator. I da
Yeah.
da
Yeah.
da, and all of
Beating
these
yourself up.
judgment
Yeah.
words, right? Instead
Mm-hmm.
of accepting this is who I am and how I work. And I think the biggest
Mm-hmm.
thing
Mm-hmm.
I was talking to a colleague, and I was telling her I'm just so lazy, and she was like, "That's how you see yourself?
No.
That's
No.
interesting."
Yeah. Yeah.
She was like, "I don't think anybody would see yourself as lazy besides you."
No.
And
Mm-mm.
then we had a whole conversation about how judging yourself limits yourself. So, because if I think I'm just lazy, now, okay, I'm not doing anything to fix the problem. If I
Yeah.
accept, hey, I don't do well doing paperwork on the same day that I service clients. I don't do well
Yeah.
on that. Now I have power because I've accepted that that's the fact is just about how I work. And now I can
Yeah.
put it into my calendar. This is my paperwork hour or this is my paperwork day. And these days are the days that I service clients. And so, y'all, it's so much power in that. And I got to tell you, as
It's a
simple
lot
as
of
it
power.
sounds, it took me years to get there.
Oh yeah.
It takes
Oh
me,
yeah.
and
Oh
there's
yeah.
still some type of um, I don't know, like some type of little judgment in my head as I'm still trying to figure out my calendar. And so I know definitely people arrive at like doing their calendar correctly, but I also want to give you guys
Yeah.
permission to keep figuring it out. And so that, and as you
Yes.
change and transition and change client bases and all of that, you may have to figure it out and figure it out and figure it out again. And
Yeah.
so don't be
Yeah.
ashamed that you have to keep trying new things until you get your system figured out. And so
Yeah. For
I
sure.
just, there's so much judgment that can go into it that why you're not doing what you're doing
Oh
as
yeah.
opposed to just accepting, okay, apparently I can't do that. All right. So what do I have to do to
Yeah.
still get the
Yeah.
solution? To still get
Mm-hmm.
this
Yeah.
problem resolved. And it doesn't have to look like how anybody else is resolving the problem. And so I know one of my clients,
Yes. Yeah.
they do best. And I'm like, dang, that's good. But they do best, almost like you, Sharice. They can come home and go to bed at 7 a.m. and wake up at 3 a.m. when the house is nice and quiet and get all their
Mm-hmm.
paperwork done.
That's
And
me.
that works with
All
them.
day. All day.
And so,
Yep.
so just come to
Yep.
peace whatever
I have to go to
works for
sleep.
you. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You have to go to
Yeah.
sleep.
I gotta go to sleep. When I'm tired, I cannot function.
Right.
So I'm gonna pass out.
Mm-hmm.
And when I wake up, I'm gonna wake up a new person, ready. But what helps is having that to-do list. So when I wake
Right.
when I
Right.
wake up, I have it, that accountability. And
Mm-hmm.
also Kimmy taught me to fall in love with my to-do list and to keep it with me,
Okay.
right? Like
Yeah.
keep it with me at all times. Don't ever, because we were having a session one day and she was like, well, where's that list of stuff I gave you? And I was like, I, I don't know. I don't know. And it was in a book. I had a book
Right.
designated, for her sessions. But girl, I could the book. And then she said, you've got to fall in love with that book. You got to keep that book with you at all times. I was like,
Okay.
oh, okay, like my phone. Because
Oh,
I've tried to do everything with my phone, and for some reason I get the alerts, but the alerts are like, oh, okay,
got
but
you.
having those alerts and having that to-do list with me every day has changed my life. And then on top of that, I done messed around and manifested. My friends saw like, oh, you need a custom to-do list. So literally created me a pad every day. I'm doing the to-do list and checking and checking and checking and checking, right?
Wow.
So it helps. But it's two things I wanted to speak on.
Oh, please
One
do.
of them was validation.
Mm,
Validation.
mm.
Okay.
Okay.
What validates you more? So I'm going to tell you what validated me. I was always running to physical work because I knew I was validated in that work because I knew I did that work well.
Yeah.
So even when it comes to helping people and doing things for people, I'm like, oh, okay, what you need, what you need, what you need, because that validated me. All right, I'll go do something and
Mm,
help somebody else, or
right.
do another client, or do another,
Right.
run another errand
Right.
for somebody, help somebody. Well, that validated me, but it wasn't serving me. It wasn't
Oh,
serving my bottom line, because guess what? I wasn't getting done. I wasn't great at paperwork
right.
or organization, so I wouldn't run to it. So it was hard
Mm,
for me. So every time, that's where my procrastination was, because I didn't feel like sitting down. It was hard to sit down and
right.
focus and lock
Right.
in on the things that I needed to do, right?
Right.
Because my life was so, rah, 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 rah. But
Right.
I had no choice when
Yeah.
I made a decision to transform my business
Yes.
and transform myself. I had to be
Yes.
validated and sitting still. I had to be okay with sitting still and getting paperwork done, because if you don't get this
Mm,
paperwork done, if you don't get these certifications, if you don't get this, if you don't pay these bills right, if you don't make sure that your licenses are updated and now, all that stuff, you're not running a legit business. If you don't have those things on automation and in a system, like, you deserve a system.
girl,
You
you were
flat
dropping
out
so
deserve a system. And that's the
oh,
whole.
I'm sorry. You dropping so many gems. I just want to make sure everybody who's listening, like, is listening and picking up every single gem that you're dropping. I think out of everything you just said, and you dropped like
Yeah.
rubies and diamonds and gold and silver, like you dropped so many, is that, oh, and like this one hit me to my heart when you just said, I wanted to transition my business, so I had to transition myself. Like I had to change myself. I had to
Mm-hmm.
transform my business. I had to
Yeah.
transform myself. And so I think people, and me
Yeah.
included, are
Yeah.
wondering why this transition and this transformation of our business isn't happening like we want it to happen. It's because we haven't sat down and really worked on transitioning
Yeah.
ourselves and transforming ourselves and picking up that new skill
Yeah.
ourselves. And so that
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
that is
Yeah.
like, oh my gosh, like, and I hope y'all out there are really understanding what she just said. Like, you want this outside transformation in your business,
Mm-hmm.
you got to do the inside transformation of yourself. How you do things, how you schedule things, the paperwork you now need to get
Yeah.
done, the things that you need to get done in this new
Yeah.
business that you didn't need to get done
Mm-hmm.
in the old business, or the old way you were doing business, because it is
Yeah.
completely
Yeah.
different. And I gotta say, I think that hit home so
Mm-hmm.
much because that's what I'm working on now, is transitioning my business. So I want to go from like
Yeah.
in-person therapy to like doing retreats, the maritalpreneurs. And I'm really
Yeah.
struggling because I
Yeah.
gotta market differently. I gotta market differently. And so it is, but I
Yeah.
think you just gave me the key. It was just like, oh my God, like you just gave me the key. I really got to sit down and make an internal transformation so that I can be this new person that I need to be
Yeah.
for the business. And I've heard it
Yeah,
for
you got to
years. One of my
become.
old
Yeah, you
coaches
have to
used to
become.
say that your business will be your coach. Like your business will be your personal coach. Your business will tell you where you're strong at and where you're weak at.
Yeah.
Just look at your business. Whatever your business needs is probably what you
Yeah.
personally are lacking. And so that was so powerful to me. And you
Yeah.
just said so many other things. And I just hope you guys are really like getting it and taking notes and hearing it and hearing what Sharice is saying, because she's saying it from her experience of what she knows. You know, okay, I give it back to you.
Yeah. Yeah, for
Like, are
sure.
y'all hearing this? This is good
Yeah.
stuff. Okay,
Well,
go ahead.
no, you're because I think it applies to most entrepreneurs, most
Mhm,
humans. It applies,
mhm.
but especially as entrepreneurs, and also giving yourself permission to transform your business and your
Yeah,
life, your
yeah.
personal and business life. Like you have
Mhm.
permission to evolve. Like you
Yes,
get to change and you get to grow and you get to glow up. You know, you get to do
yeah,
all that. But let's be clear. Let's be very, very clear. It probably isn't going to be cute. You know, it's
oh,
probably not going to be glamorous.
mm-hmm.
It's gonna hurt. It's gonna sting real
I
good,
got
because I
hurt.
want to
Why
be
does it
clear
have to
and
hurt?
transparent. You know, when I met because anything in healing process is going to hurt, right. You had that thing had to become raw, whether it's by choice or life happening to
Mm-hmm.
you. That's why it's like you gotta really line your life up as best you can, so that these processes will happen more smoothly instead of being hard-headed and things life ends up happening to you.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
I believe it's always happening for you, but a
right.
lot of times it can be so much smoother if we, you know, made preparation and thought
Yeah,
ahead and planned
yeah,
ahead, for what
yeah,
could possibly happen.
yeah.
But then during that hurt and that pain, that healing, it just is hurtful because you got to face it. You got to face yourself. It's like that whole scab situation. Oh, it's healing, but you got to pull the scab off eventually.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to
Mm-hmm.
hurt regardless. It might come off. It could come off automatically one day you wake up, but 9 times out of 10, even if it was deep enough to go to the hospital, they're gonna have to pull it off and it hurts. But under there is
Yeah,
healed.
yeah, yeah. You're
So
right.
you have to it's just life. It's just the way it is. And like with my transition, I felt like I was going so far backwards when as I was coming from behind the
Mm-hmm.
chair. And
Mm-hmm.
you know, I just felt like a fish out of water
Yeah,
and trying to figure out a system. Like, well, what kind of system is this? Like, patient wasn't there,
yeah.
right? So, but girl, how much value was in the foundation that I had been
Mm-hmm.
building for years? I forgot about the foundation that I had been building and why I was coming from behind the chair, right? And
Right,
how do I want to be from behind the chair? So
right.
even with you, Natalie, making your transition from, client to client to your retreats, you're still going to see clients. For one, it's your
Mm-hmm.
passion and your love,
Yeah,
and you're really, really good at it, and it pays the bills, I'm sure.
yeah,
So you're gonna be in that space for a while, so you can't forget it, you can't neglect it. You still have to take really, really good care of it as you transition into the other space.
yeah.
And you have to make that transition in that manner, because the retreats are so big and take so much planning. You don't see the residual from it immediately. You don't
That's true.
see the
That's true.
income from it immediately. So
Right,
you can't leave the therapy
right,
to go do retreats immediately.
right,
It don't
right.
work like that. You have to
Yeah,
build up on the retreats. So
yeah,
that's a lot of what people, I think, miss out on.
yeah.
So I was speaking to the validation part and the permission to evolve. You
Mm-hmm.
get to do that, but be careful in that evolution. Don't
Mm-hmm.
get too big
Mm-hmm.
and just leave. the
Mhm.
foundation behind
Yeah, yeah,
of where
definitely
you
so.
came from.
There you go. There you go. Okay. I want to pivot and I want to say some specific things that I've learned about scheduling really over the last probably year. And so, and I'm still implementing all of this, but definitely this is what I'm learning. Okay. Like we just kind of alluded to, you need time for paperwork day. Like you or pay or time for to do paperwork to sit down. All right, you need time for
Yeah.
that. I've also learned I need time to delegate. You need time in your schedule where you are
Oh
thinking
yeah. Oh
about
yeah.
what can be delegated and then actually delegate it. And so for some of us, that takes a little bit more time because as we're delegating, we're creating SOPs. And so, I'm going to strongly advise if you're delegating anything, go ahead and create the standard operating procedure. So if this person graduates, moves on, leaves the company, you have written down what they did so you can just pass it on to the next hire. All right. So you
Yeah.
have to have delegation time. All right. Women in particularly, you have to have some downtime, some do nothing time and figure out how much that is for you. So I have noticed over the years that my women entrepreneurs are running the business and so busy in the business that when they take time off, now they got to focus on family and focus on friends and focus on all their life and getting tissue from Costco. And so it's run, 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 run. And so
Yeah.
I really, really, and then I noticed then they burn out. Then we burn out. I'll put me in there too. Then we burn out. And then the business needs us. So we jump back in business and we start running again. And then we just burn out. And so one of the things that I've
Yeah.
been trying to be conscious of in my circle of influence is making sure everybody has weekly scheduled do nothing time where you can just be. If you want to binge watch TV, binge watch TV. If you want to walk around the block, walk around the block. But time where you
Yeah.
are not helping anybody else. You are not going to check on mama, sister, brother, nobody. You are
Yeah.
just giving yourself permission to do nothing. I would like that to be a full day, but at the very least, can you start off with 4 hours where you're not scheduled to do anything but bebop around your house and look in your mirror and that's all, like all of that. So that
Yeah.
do nothing time. I think some of us, me included, you need schedule planning time and review
Yeah.
time.
Oh
And
yeah.
so this is something that I should have implemented years ago because I knew about it. But either first thing Monday morning or first or last thing Friday, or pick your time. But one time every week where you kind of plan out for the next week, like where you're looking at what was your yearly goals, what was your quarterly goals, what was your monthly goals, and you're kind of planning out what needs to be done for the next week. And you're also looking back to see what balls did I drop over the last week. So I am
Yeah. That's
notorious for that.
good.
I am
Good.
trying so hard to get better because I'm good for like, oh girl, I'll send it to you. And I'm not sending you nothing because I didn't write it down. And so I don't even
Cause
remember
you
what I
didn't write.
said. I didn't write it down. So I have no idea
Yes.
what I was supposed to send or who I was
Yeah.
supposed to send it to. And so
Important stuff.
if you typically, most people can, depending on who you are, most people can probably remember a conversation from 2 to 3 days ago, maybe the week. And so if there's something in your calendar where you just sitting quiet, did I get everything to everybody who I said I was going to get it to? Did I drop any balls? Was I supposed to go catch an email that I did and that I never got to, or fill out a form that I never got to? If that is in your schedule, you will see yourself now turn out to be phenomenal because you're catching all of those things that went
Yeah.
in between the cracks
Yeah.
and some type of system
Yeah.
for that. Some type of system. So those are the things
Yeah.
I should have wrote them down. But let me try to say them again. Delegation time, definitely. Do nothing time,
Yes.
definitely. And dropping balls and planning and looking forward time. And so all of that. And y'all, none of these have
Yeah.
to be. I do want your do nothing time to be at least 4 hours because I want you to feel it. Like I want you to feel it. Like really kind of
That's
just like, okay,
good. Feel it.
I can just be
Yeah.
free. I don't have to have anything on my mind. I do want that to be at least 4 hours. Then I'd love for you to graduate to a full 8 hours. But I understand y'all are busy. So at the very least, could you start with 2 hours? Just I'm free. I ain't supposed to be doing nothing. I ain't supposed to be paying the bills. I'm just
Yeah.
free. Just the freedom, and just feel that
Yeah.
freedom for a little while. I want to preach more on that. Okay. This is also a reason why I would love for
Please
you
do.
guys to
Please
be able
do.
to do that, because rest is your responsibility. And I posted it on social media recently, and I really want to start
Good.
preaching that rest is your responsibility. It's not a reward.
Mm-hmm.
That you have to
Mm-hmm.
rest, because there's no way you're going to recharge if you don't rest. And rest is
Yeah.
different from recuperating and recharging.
Girl, that's a
Like
whole
there's just something
topic.
about just resting. And some of you guys are looking for answers, and you're so busy running to get the answers, you're not going to get them. It's kind of like that when we were little kids and people was trying to eat something, and like the food dropped out or dropped on the floor before they could get it to their mouth. We would say, you wanted that too bad. You
Mm-hmm.
wanted it too bad. And there are some things that you guys are
Mm-hmm.
wanting so bad that your energy chasing it is keeping it from coming to you.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you learn how to
Mm-hmm.
rest, and so taking 2 hours a week and just resting, this is my do nothing time. This is a time where I just do nothing. Like I just rest. I
Yeah.
don't think about
Yeah.
nothing. I just chill. You
Mm-hmm.
are building a muscle of rest, a muscle
Yeah.
of peace, a muscle of not having to be doing and being engaged in anything at all points in time. You are learning how to be
Yeah.
purposeful and not just busy. And so it seems like a little thing, but it's such a
Mm-hmm.
powerful thing. It's such a powerful thing if you guys can
Yeah.
learn to do that, just to have a period. And I have
Yeah.
a couple of friends and clients and a good amount of people on my, if you give them 2 hours to do nothing, they don't know what to do. Like they just are like driving crazy. And oh my God, I must be missing something. And they get so anxious,
Yeah.
so anxious. And I don't want that to be you.
Yeah.
I want you
Yeah.
to be able to enjoy rest. I want you to be able
Yeah.
to enjoy, to just be, you
Yeah.
know. That's like that old person that retires and then they
Yeah.
keep showing up at the job because they don't know how to rest. They don't know how to be. They don't know how to go find pleasure in.
Exactly.
We thought you retired yesterday. Yeah, I ain't know how.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So anyway, okay, that's my 2 cents.
Yeah.
Okay. Winding them down, Sharice, what do you want people to take away from today with scheduling for sanity, how to take control of their calendar and their life? What do you want them to walk away with?
Yeah, I think that people should walk away today with understanding like your calendar really is like your heartbeat. Like your calendar is your lifeline.
Yeah.
This is what I've had to learn personally.
Yeah.
Because like you, I had double book important crazy
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
Right? Outrageous things that I had double booked, and I looked up and I'm like, oh my gosh,
Right.
how am I going to do
Wow.
this?
Wow. Wow. Yeah.
And it really came when, I made my transition more than anything. Because
Mm-hmm.
when I was in position, everyone knew where I was. I knew my schedule was this day to that day, like Tuesday through
Yeah.
Saturday.
Yeah.
It was just, a regiment.
Yeah.
Baby, that when I got away from that schedule, my life was really truly in shambles. It was freedom, but it was shambles in
Right.
freedom. And I'm really enjoying now, pulling it back, pulling it together. So
Yeah.
get that, do whatever you have to do.
Yeah.
Get as many calendars as you need. Be
Right.
excessive, be extreme.
Yeah.
Get your life together. You deserve a system. Create a system.
Yeah. All right. I'm just going to echo what she said because I love that sentence, and we don't have time to go into the whole thing. But you deserve a system. Like you deserve a system. Your business deserves a system. Your life deserves a system. You deserve a system.
Yeah.
And so I'm gonna leave it at that because I think that one sentence says so much. And it says so much to entrepreneurs because so many entrepreneurs are running without systems.
Yes, baby, we're
Oh,
winging it. The day is over, Natalie. It's over,
right.
and I'm the queen, and I'm
Mhm.
over. I'm done. I can't function like that anymore.
Yep.
I'm good
Yep.
at it, but I
Yep.
can't function like that no more. It's not efficient.
It's
Not for where I'm going.
All right, it's not efficient. And this is the last thing I'm gonna say, and then I'm gonna hang up on y'all. It's not scalable. It's not scalable. You're not gonna be able to
It's
grow
not
until you get these
scalable,
systems.
baby.
It's not. So,
That's good.
all right. I have
I
had a
love it.
wonderful conversation with you guys today. I'm hoping you guys have a
Yes.
great day. Sharice, I hope that wherever you're going, you get there safely. Thank you again for
Yes.
holding it down
Yes.
last week. That meant
Thank
so
you.
much to me,
Thank you.
knowing that I could
Enjoyed
step
it.
away
Yes.
and it was in great hands, and like the show must go on.
Yes.
It went on, and so thank you, Kim.
Yes.
Thank you so much for
Teamwork.
everything you did last week. I appreciate y'all both,
Yes.
and thank you, Kimmy. Thank you. All right, y'all have a great day.
All right. Be good.
Audio Jungle.